How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. So we're talking Reds, Brewers. Big series here for these Cincinnati Reds. We're 2 games into it. Gonna have the third game's probably gonna be all but complete by the time this video is, seen by most. But the Reds right now, it's a series where you kind of say, can they prove themselves? We knew they could beat up on the Miami Marlins, but can they prove themselves and beat a top-notch team? Can they stand up well against a top-notch team? Game number 1, I thought they proved that. I thought they proved that from a hitting standpoint. Coburn Burns, no joke. Valley went up there, stood toe-to-toe, played really well, pitched really well. Reds gave him run support. The problem came when Valley got into trouble. We brought in Michael Lorenzen, which I thought was the right decision. I thought that was a very good managerial decision by David Bell. He's proving himself more and more as he's been, or the longer he's been this Reds manager. You have to go out there, play that like a playoff game. You bring in your number 1 man. And at that moment, I think Lorenzen was your number 1 man. He hadn't allowed a run all year. He's looked dominant out there. And hey, guess what? Lorenzen did what you needed him to do there. He got out of that jam, got out of the inning, but he came in the next inning and he struggled. And that's where you talk about, did they leave Michael Lorenzen in there too long? Michael Gibbons will come in, your number 2 punch, like another guy you expect to get outs. And he went out there, allowed, what was it, a double after a couple sack flies. So he did get a couple fly ball outs, but he did allow a lot of runs out there to be scored while pitching for this Reds team. So there's that to look forward to. Same with Lorenzen. Both these guys came in and they got the outs they needed to. The first couple, Lorenzen got his first out. Lorenzen got 2, or Gibbons got 2. So on the bright side, you see that out of these guys. The reason you leave Lorenzen in that long, though, is because you're concerned about the rest of that bullpen. Do you trust the rest of that bullpen if you're David Bell? When Lorenzen's been so lights out, he gives him a longer leash because you're trying to look at the backside of this game. You're trying to look at the 8th inning, the 9th inning. You're trying to get there and make sure you have the proper arms in the bullpen that you have faith in, closing out this game. Unfortunately, that's not how it turned out. And I think that's where you look at where the Reds are. And this Reds offense, I think they proved now, granted, game 2, offense wasn't the greatest, but game 1 it was. You're going to have games like that where it's low scoring. They're not going to beat up on these playoff teams like they did all these other teams. When playoffs come around, games get tighter. But they've proven that they can take games from good pitching staffs or good pitchers because of their offense. It is their bullpen where you need to see that depth come in. A tale of 2 stories, though. Game 1, the bats were well. The game 2, they weren't. But the pitching, Lucas Sims came in, got out of a big situation there. Amir Garrett. But Hoffman came in, did a pretty exceptional job there as well. As nerve-wracking as it is to see guys like that have been struggling come in, they need to be a key part of this team. And the better they pitch going down the stretch, the more you can trust into those guys. The Reds need depth. Depth. When you get into the playoffs, that's so important that you can yank your starters early if you have to and believe that your bullpen can go out there and win you ball games. That's the difference in the Reds being a legitimate favorite to win the World Series. I said it. That bullpen and that bullpen depth. And the fact that they didn't chase that in preseason or offseason, it's going to hurt us forever. But you have to deal with the hand you've been dealt with now if you're the Reds. And there's still a lot of promising guys in this pen who can get hot and get things together and really push this Reds team. I think they're proving themselves pretty well against Milwaukee. I think David Bell has been up for the task. I think this is a Reds team. We'll see how they play in the 3rd game. But right now, you can easily say this could be a series split 1-1. You talk playoffs. It's been ace versus ace, too, right? You got the 3 best pitchers from each team going up against each other here. I think you can call it 1-1, and that's important to say that the Reds can stick around with these tough teams. We have to see how they play against the, NL West. That's been their main issue. But I like the way things are going so far for these Reds. Staying optimistic. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.